welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe so that you don't ever miss an upload. And if you're an OG, oldie but a goodie, then thank you so much for coming back to another video. Okay, you guys, so today I finally have my how I bought my house video and pretty much the step-by-step process on buying a house. All right, so go ahead and grab a notebook and a pen just so that you can jot down like maybe the steps, and I will be giving a couple tips out in case this is like your first home purchase and just like little, you know, things that you would need to know before you hop into the home buying journey. So this may be a little bit of a long video, but I will try to just cut it short and give you guys the main points, and let's hop into it, okay? So I'm sitting here in my office, you guys, and this room is still like under construction. So I bought my house, well, I closed on my house on December 18th, 2020. So it has been 4 months since I've been living in this house, and it still feels like I just moved in. I'm still in the honeymoon phase of absolutely loving being a homeowner. So it is definitely such a rewarding process. It is a long, it could be kind of stressful, but honestly it's so much worth it when you own your own house. This is like your space, okay? You can do whatever you want with it. It is an investment. Anytime you buy a house, it's an investment, okay? You're gonna build equity. And okay, so let's just start. So the first thing that you want to do when looking to buy a house is to get a lender. So a lot of times people think that the first step is to get a real estate agent or to get a realtor and start looking at houses, and that's kind of the first step, but it almost goes hand in hand. So you want to have a lender before you actually go and look at houses. So what a lender does is that they're going to look at all your financials, and they're pretty much going to tell you how much of a house can you afford. So they're gonna, like, you know, just look into your finances. If you're employed, you pretty much just have to give like pay stubs and your previous taxes, and they're gonna like just, you know, they're gonna average that. And most lenders look at the past 2 years of your tax return. So for example, if you're looking to purchase a house in 2021, they will be looking at your 2020 and your 2019 taxes. So you want to be sure that you're, of course, filing your taxes and just staying on top of your finances. If you're self-employed, girl or guy, let me just tell you that the process is a lot more difficult, because you have to, buying a house is a huge purchase, okay? So you really have to prove to the banks and the lenders that you can actually afford to buy this house. They're you know, they're the ones that are lending you the money to buy the house. You're making your mortgage payments to them. And when you're self-employed, you really have to prove that this is a legit business. It's bringing in steady income, and it's enough for you to afford to make your monthly mortgage payment. So yeah, the process is a lot deeper. They really dive very deep into your finances if you're self-employed. So I did purchase my house while I was fully self-employed. So I will kind of give you guys the information as being a self-employed person, because I don't work for nobody. I don't have like pay stubs or tax returns from an employer. So everything was thankfully from, I bought my house strictly with my income from Fatima Francesa and Co. So I did not even include my medical spa, which is Revitalux, because that was last year. And this 2021 is my first year of, you know, filing taxes for Revitalux, because I opened last year. So Revitalux was nowhere in my financial picture at all when I bought my house. So it was strictly just for my online store, from YouTube, for my merchandise, from my classes, and all that kind of stuff that I bought this house. So yeah, with all that being said, of course, I wanted to give a huge thank you to you guys, because I'm here because of you guys. You guys click on the channel, you support the store, y'all support me, so thank you. Okay guys, so the lender. Now a lot of times when you go to a builder or you're looking around for houses, a lot of times the sales agent will have like their preferred lender, and they kind of just work in network. So a lender is really up to you if you know somebody that does it. If you had a referral from like a previous homeowner that they went through this lender, you know, that's kind of how you go about that. The way that I did it, I just went with my agent's preferred lender. So they were kind of used to working with this specific builder. They kind of knew the neighborhoods, and the person that was assigned to me did know about self-employment, you know, things. Yeah, how to get the maximum buying power for a self-employed individual. So that was my first step, you guys. So I showed them my 2018, 2019 taxes. I had to show like a gross, what's it called? Not gross, profit and loss loss statement for my businesses, for YouTube, for all that. So that just means like how much profit am I making each month, how much loss, which is like, you know, like your expenses, merch, whatever, you know, whatever has to do with your business. You have to provide a profit and loss statement. You have to provide your taxes. You have to actually provide your bank statements, and they have to see like how much money you're making each month. So all these things I had to give to my lender, and then comes the whole like process where they kind of average everything from the last 2 years, and they give you the magical number, which is how much house you can afford. So once they take a look at that, and it's very vague, you guys, because it's not up until you close on your house that you are like confident that you're gonna be able to buy this house. So the beginning process, they give you that number. That's just kind of an average for you to go shop around, and now you can look at houses. Because let's say that they look at your, you know, let's just say that they look at your taxes and they tell you, okay, and they basically tell you, okay, you're pre-approved for 500,000. So you can go look at houses 500,000 and below. You're not gonna go break your heart and fall in love with the house that's like outside of your budget. It's outside of what a mortgage is gonna approve for you. So that is pretty much the first step, all right? So I did all that through my lender, got all my documents together, got my magical number, and at this point I had already fallen in love with this specific house that I'm in. So yeah, I was already pre-approved. I was actually trying to stay below my budget of, you know, what I got approved for, and I had like a number in my mind. I'm like, I don't want to go above this number because I'm living by myself. Like, I don't need a huge house and da-da-da. And girl, all that went out the window when I found this house because it's a lot bigger than what I was planning for. Initially, I wanted a 3-bedroom house with like a 2-bathroom and maybe like a 1-car garage. And I ended up settling for this house, which is 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a 2-car garage, full-blown patio. I was even looking at townhomes at first because, again, like I said, I live by myself. I wanted like something that's comfortable, luxury, but not a lot of maintenance. I did look at some beautiful luxury townhomes that they were building, all new construction. I knew from the start that I was gonna look for a new construction. Like I just love the process of new construction and being in a brand new house, and you get to pick everything out and you're the first person living there. So yeah, I was looking at luxury townhomes and I love those, but this one just screamed at me, all right? When I toured the model and I walked in, like the foyer area, the kitchen, like I fell in love with the kitchen. The area is like so peaceful and it's a lot closer than what I was expecting. I was really looking to go more into the city. And this is, again, I'm out in the suburbs, and everything about it was like, okay, I'm in love. Like, I do not want to even keep on looking because this model home just like sold me. So yeah, once I fell in love and was like, yes, this is the one, the next step is that you kind of just sign like a whole bunch of paperwork and you put down like a contract, and that's when the building process begins, all right? So of course, the first step was to pick out a lot. So you have to decide if you want to be in a neighborhood, if you want to just build your own house like outside of a neighborhood, if you want a private builder, if you want to go with a builder that, you know, builds in neighborhoods. So those are all little things that you may want to like think about and consider. I wanted to go the easy route. I definitely wanted to be in a neighborhood because I didn't want to be like out by myself, again, just like in a random. But yeah, guys, then the exciting process comes, and you know, you kind of find a lot, and I knew that I wanted trees as my background. I love greenery. As you guys know, in my house I have plants and stuff, so I definitely wanted trees in my background, and this lot that I had was the last one that had the trees in the background. Like, all those were sold. You usually will have to pay a lot premium, and that's just like an extra money that you put down to choose a lot. So if you have trees in your backgrounds, you do have to pay a lot premium because that's like, you know, an upgrade. If you're like in a cul-de-sac or in a corner lot, you definitely will have to pay a lot premium because you get like a bigger yard with that, or you get a bigger front yard. So all those are things to consider. If you don't want to like put down any more extra money, then just pick like any lot on the street. So yeah, and I think my lot premium was like $5,000 just to like have the trees in the background. So I did get my greenery that I wanted. And then you guys, the building process begins. So the building part was really not stressful at all. It really didn't get stressful up until the end. So everything was like riding smooth, you know, signed my contract, picked out, you know, what I wanted in my house. So my house, a lot of the stuff was already standard, so there wasn't a lot of upgrades for me to do. So granite already came with the house as standard. The fireplace that I have was standard. The ceiling, the height of the ceilings was standard, so that was already included in the price of the home. The wood flooring was standard, so a lot of the stuff that you typically will upgrade was already included in the price of the house. So that's just gonna depend on, you know, who you go, who's your builder. Some builders will say like their base price, which is say like $300,000, and that's just like base. And then if you want to add granite and wood, and you want to, like, you know, start to like get all your pretty fancy things, the prices start to go up. So thankfully this house came with a lot of the stuff as standard. I really don't think I upgraded anything in this house except my lot premium, which was the trees. So yeah, everything came included. Throughout the process, you get to have like a visit with the design center, and that's where you kind of pick out your colors. So for example, like your cabinetry, your floors, your bathroom tile. I mean, every builder is different. Some builders give you like full freedom where you could like pick everything. Mine actually came in packages. So for example, if I wanted a white kitchen, it came with a package. Came with a package of like the darker floors and a certain tile color for the bathroom. So my builder did it in packages. So it's really gonna depend on your builder and how they price things and kind of how it goes. But yeah, that process is like right before they start construction, you pretty much pick out everything and then boom. And then yeah, you guys, the fun part starts, and that was construction. And like I said, this whole like construction process was pretty smooth. I really didn't get to walk through the house that much often. My builder was a little strict with that, so you did have to be with the builder or with the sales rep to be able to walk the floors, and that was more so like a safety thing because, you know, something happened and it's like the middle of construction, so they were very safe with it. So anytime I wanted to walk through the house while I was under construction, I had to, you know, call my sales girl and like go with her. So I didn't really walk too much up until the wood framing was up, and I'll insert like a little video of that here. But that's when I did, like, I think it was my first walkthrough, and you do go with your builder and you, like, you know, if you see something, you let them know, hey, this is that. But the wood part was so fun because it's like really starting to see the house come to life. You're like walking through the rooms, but it's all like wood framing. And on the day of my walkthrough, I did grab a Sharpie and I wrote on my wood walls, and I wrote like affirmations. And that's why I feel like I'm so in love with this house. Like the energy in here is completely different from my last place. Like this place feels like, it just really feels like a home to me now. So yeah, I was writing like, you know, bless this home, and I am abundant in this house is full of love. So I was just walking around the walls like writing with my Sharpie, and that was such a wonderful like experience. And, you know, you're really seeing your house come to life. And up until this point, you guys, like I said, really smooth. I was just kind of checking in with my lender here and there. Like they would ask, hey, can you send me like your last 2 months bank statements? And, you know, they always wanted to make sure your finances were in check. So that is one huge pointer to write down, you guys. When you're in the buying process, you do not want to do any crazy expenses. Don't go and max out your credit cards. Don't go and buy a new car. Don't go and open up a credit card. Like, be very, very careful with your finances. And when you're building a house, it's a lot harder because it's a longer process, right? You have to be very strict throughout the whole entire process up until you close your house. Yeah, this was crazy. Like I had to just be very careful. You guys know I was in the process of opening up my medical spa, so I had to be careful with how I was spending things. Everything that I bought for the spa and like my expenses, like literally I was building the spa as I was building my house. I had to like really go back and pay off those credit cards like immediately. So I had to be on top of my finances, you guys. And it was 2020, it was a pandemic, so it was a lot of work that I had to, you know, be sure that I was like, I was not gonna lose the contract with the house. So yeah, you want to just be very careful, you guys, because I have seen so many heartbreak stories of people like losing their job, or something happens with their finances and then your contract drops because you can't really, the lender cannot notice any weird things going on with your finances that's gonna put you at risk to not be able to pay your mortgage. Like they're just gonna drop the contract and move on to the next person. Okay guys, so at this point in the journey, I'm talking like September, October, when the wood was kind of going on. Yeah, I think it was September when I did the first walk. And this is when things got a little bit stressful because my lender was like on top of me. We had a little issue. So basically what happened was that when I got pre-approved, they had told me that I could put down like, I think it was 5%. It was like 3 to 5% down. And when I got closer to closing, they told me I had to put down, how much was it? I had to put down 20% to be able to close on the house. And that was because they didn't really average my income correctly when I first applied, when I got pre-approved. So they didn't I don't know who, you guys, and this is the part where it got really stressful, because at first I had one lender in the beginning, and then like a couple months later, that lender like was no longer there, and I had a new lender, and she wasn't too experienced with self-employed, you know, people. So I don't know what happened with like how they were averaging my money and my financials and everything, but I was already pre-approved for this amount with what the house cost. And boom, you guys, so they tell me, yeah, you need to put 20% or we can't approve the mortgage. And that's a huge difference. Okay, a 3% is like a couple $1,000s versus a 20% put me up into like a 5-figure down payment. So I had to make that decision, and thankfully I had the money in the bank to be able to make that decision, because that could have been very stressful for somebody that didn't have the money. And then it's like, all right, well, boop, you dropped the contract, my bad, you actually can't afford the house, we're gonna pre-approve you for a lower house, and then you have to start the process all over again. So that, you know, you guys, the lender process is very, very stressful, especially for self-employed. Like I said, when you're employed through an employer, it's easier because you have your pay stubs. Like, there's really not much to like look around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they dropped these news on me, and I had to just think about it. It was an easy decision because I was already in love with the house. I wasn't gonna drop the contract, and it ended up being a great decision because really I had that money just sitting in the bank, and now I put it into my house. So it's building equity. It's like I put that money and put it towards my investment, which is my property. So it's not just sitting there in the bank like collecting cents for interest. It's, you know, it's into my house now, and my mortgage payments are way lower than had I went with like a 3% down. So I know all these percentages can be confusing. That's something that you have to sit down with your lender and talk about, because every person gets a, you know, your percentage has to do with your credit score, if you're a previous homeowner, if this is going to be an investment property. So all those things come into play with how much percentage you give. And I know like the new trends right now in real estate is to do a lower percentage, because, you know, people are saying like, keep your money in the bank, put a low percentage, and you still have a house. But like I said, it's really up to you. To me, I saw it the other way around. I was like, I don't want to keep that money just sitting there in the bank. Like, I'm putting it towards my house. My mortgage payment is way low. So if I was to, you know, after rent this house and move into another house, if I'm going to rent this house, I'm going to be making a lot of money from this house as an investment property, because my mortgage payments are so low and I can rent it for a much higher price. So it really was just like, it was all about an investment transaction, and I decided to go with the 20% down, which is a lot, is a big percentage, but I decided to go for it. So that's the route that I took for my house. All right, you guys, so now we're getting closer to our closing date, and things got crazy. All right, so the house wasn't ready. The house kept having to be pushed back. Original closing date was September, and then, you know, things weren't ready, things were getting delayed, and you know, it's a pandemic, right? So I think it was my floors that were delayed, like they had to like ship it from somewhere else, and then also my windows, like the glass for the windows got delayed, a whole bunch of delays. So I didn't end up closing until December. And then this process really stressed me out with the lender, because it's like every time a month would go by, they would ask me again, send your bank statement, send your new profit and loss. And you guys, if you have watched my videos, you know that I went through a huge like mental health crisis right around October. So it was a lot for me when I was already like mentally not there and having to deal with my house being pushed back. The lender was like on me, and at this point I wasn't really even working because I had stopped recording videos. I was just taking a mental health break, and it got stressful, girl. But you know what? God is good. God is amazing, because as soon as I was about to give up on the house. Let me just say that. I actually had a conversation with my lender where I was like, you know what? At this point, I can no longer provide you these documents. Like, they were getting down to the nitty gritty, like giving me a huge list, like, you need to contact your student loan people, and we need this form, and we need that. And I'm like, hello, I have a business. I'm like, you're seeing my income coming in. I'm showing you the revenue. Here's my Wells Fargo account. Here's my business account. Here's my credit card statements. I'm like, girl, I just couldn't. I was like, I don't have this documentation. Like, I just can't. I was like, you know what, I think this right now is not the time for me to buy a house. And then, you know, he had talked to the other girl, because, you know, of course, they don't want to lose the contract. They don't want to lose the business. And God is good. Like, God just literally put everything in place right when I was about to give up. And boom, everything like checked off in the green. They're like, yeah, you passed your, because, you know, you're pre-approved, then you're like conditionally approved, and then you're like final approved. And girl, that's when you can finally sign and get your keys. And it's like, I'm telling you, I don't even want to cry, but like, God is so good, because I don't know if that's why I'm so happy to be here right now, just because I know like the process, the work that it took to be here, and then just all the effort, because like I said, this was 2018 and 2019 income. So it was just, it's such an accomplishment, you guys. And that is pretty much how I bought my house through the pandemic. I also wanted to mention that one big reason for me to buy a house at the time that I bought it was because COVID hit and mortgage rates went down, girl. So wink, wink. I think they're still down right now. So if you guys want to shop around, like, this is a really great time to invest in real estate. Okay, so my mortgage rate was, I don't even know what it was, but it was like record low. So with a low mortgage rate, a low mortgage interest rate, a low mortgage monthly payment, everything just aligns, and I'm in this huge house that I did not expect to have, like, you know, this size at this age. And now it's an investment, like I said, because if I decide to like downsize, or I could do whatever I want, right? I could go to townhome, I could go to a bigger house, I could do what I want, but I know that this house right here is going to be a huge investment for years to come, especially because the way I went around it and the percentages that I did and the time that I got it, it's like a no-brainer. It was a wonderful investment. So yeah, you guys, that is pretty much the sped up version on how I bought and built my house. Like I said, it's not much to it. I know it sounds like it could be a very long process. There's definitely things that you just have to have in order. So maybe I can go back and do like a video on like a checklist on things that you need to have if you're self-employed and getting into buying a house. Because like I said, if you're employed, you have a huge less of a stress to worry about. When you're self-employed, you guys, a lot of things go into it. Number one thing that I could say right off the top of my head is that you need to have your business for at least 2 years before you can actually claim that you have a business. Yeah, let's just say you just started a business and it's going amazing. Let's say you're making 6 figures and you just started your business. Girl, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're making 6 figures, but they're not gonna count that. You need to have a 2-year history of that business being open. So that's one thing that holds a lot of people back from being able to buy a house. So yeah, if you're looking to buy a house and you're in the entrepreneurship world, you may want to keep your job and use your job and just use that income to qualify for a house, unless you have your business for 2 years, and it has to be 2 consecutive years, and it has to be making consecutive income. Pretty much they just have to see that the business is trending upwards and that you are in a comfortable financial situation to be able to make your mortgage payments, because no mortgage lender wants to deal with like foreclosure and then you can't. It's a lot. So yeah, you guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Like I said, let me know if you guys want a more in-depth video on like the process of being approved for a mortgage if you're self-employed. I don't know how many people watching this are like fully self-employed, so I didn't want to like go too in depth into that. I kind of wanted to give you guys like the timeline on like the whole process. You know, you get a lender, you start construction, and then you close, like just kind of the process and the step-by-step into buying a house. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.